Seems like there's a vacancy going in the cabinet. The Department of Work and Pensions. Duncan Smith, you're supposed to be the head of the Department of Work and Pensions, but it seems like unless you're working, he don't care about you. He does not care about you. Unless you're working, and even if you are claiming a pension, he probably doesn't still care about you then. Duncan Smith is a scumbag, plain and simple. He doesn't care. He's laughing at people starving. He's laughing at people claiming food banks, saying that it's their own fault, saying that the food banks people are only using food banks more now because there's more food banks. That's not how charity works. Charity fills a void. Charity doesn't create a void and then force people to use it. Duncan Smith, this is the man, when Parliament was debating food banks and the dependency on food banks in the UK rising, he walked out of Parliament. This is a man that's supposed to be in charge of welfare. All he seems to do is want to take welfare away and not give it to anyone. People are starving, people are hungry. 1 million people used food banks this year. 1/3 of those were children. Children don't go to food banks. They don't go just because they're there. They go because they're starving. They go because they're poor, because they're on the breadline. They've got no money. And Duncan Smith doesn't care. This man is an absolute joke. He claims to be a Catholic, claims to be a Roman Catholic, but I don't know what he has faith in. He has more faith in the devil than he does in God, because he seems to be doing the devil's fucking work. The man today has turned down the chance to talk with leading Christian charities and food bank charities. He refused to talk to them because he said they were scaremongering, because he said that they're seeking publicity for their cause. This is a man that works for the Conservative Party, and he's criticising other people for scaremongering. He's accusing the Christian church and charities of scaremongering over food banks. You want to take a look at your own party, take a look at the scaremongering you're doing over immigration, over terrorism, over Islam. That's scaremongering. When you're blaming immigrants for people starving, when you just walk out of debates about people starving. This is a man who's supposed to care about the people of the United Kingdom. He doesn't care. He's laughing at the poor. He's laughing at the poor while he sits in his mansion where his council tax paid for by your fucking taxes. He claims council tax expense. The man thinks he can live on £53 a week. A few months ago, he claimed £43 of taxpayers' expenses for a breakfast. So what are you going to do? Is have a £7 for the rest of the weekend? It's not possible, mate. It's not possible. This is a man that this week turned down 22 million from the EU, who pledged that money to support food banks, to support people living in food poverty. And he turned it down. He declined 22 million just on a simple fact he's got to follow the party line that we don't need Europe to survive. And he doesn't want to be in Europe's pocket. He doesn't want Europe telling him how he should spend that money. If someone comes to you with £22 million to help feed the poor, you take that money. You take it on the chin. You swallow your pride for the good of the nation, for the good of the poor and the starving, and you take that money. Trying to follow the party line to the nth degree to try and please Eurosceptics and people you think you're going to lose to the UKIP vote. You want to stop thinking about the short term. Start thinking about the long term. The man is ridiculous. He claims to be in favour of helping the poor when all he really is doing is laughing at them. Constantly laughing at the poor. He don't care. He don't care. Why would you turn down £22 million to help feed the poor? How many poor families in England do you think you can feed for 22 million? Duncan Smith, he's a joke. People like this running the country, it's just unacceptable. I mean, how can you turn down the chance to speak to a leading charity and then blame them for scaremongering, saying that they're pushing their own policies and agenda and in conjunction with the Labour Party? People are using food banks. Duncan Smith, people are using food banks because they got nowhere else to go, because they got no money, because they got no food, because their children are starving. And this is happening in the UK, not in Syria, not in Africa, not in some war-torn third world country. This is happening right here, when you got people, millionaires, billionaires, sitting in their mansions who don't care about the poor. And Ian Duncan Smith, David Cameron, Gideon Osborne, they're all the same. They don't care about you and me. They want to look after themselves. And if a few people have to starve for them and their buddies to get a little bit richer, so be it. Who cares? 1 million people use food banks this year. 1 million people. And it just seems no one cares. No one wants to do anything about it. He's blaming the rise in numbers on that there's more food banks being opened. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Ian Duncan Smith, you must go. You and your buddies, you all must go. You don't deserve to be running this country. There's a man that claims all his council tax expenses from the taxpayer. I mean, I have to pay my own council tax. I can't just claim it from somewhere else. I have to pay that. If I don't pay it, I get a letter through the door saying, pay your council tax now. We're going to take up legal action against you. But it's a joke. Ian Duncan Smith, you must go. You are scum. You are the scum of the earth. And how you even got yourself elected, how you can call yourself a Roman Catholic. I thought people of faith were supposed to be kind, generous, open-minded, open-hearted. Just a joke. Total joke.